In early March, the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, held its most important two sessions of the year, and it's been in bad shape since then. The Chinese people are gradually realizing that the world they live in is getting more unreal. In this episode, we'll look at a few clips and side stories of what's been going on in China lately, from the people to the officials. First, let's look at a sudden scare when driving in an undersea tunnel. This is the Shantou Bay Tunnel in southern China. It has been described as a world-class challenging project. On March 20th, 2024, a Chinese netizen posted a video showing water puddling inside the tunnel while driving through it. The tunnel was turned into a small river and more water kept seeping through. People can't turn around inside the tunnel. Drivers who were stuck inside had no choice but to wade through the water. A netizen told a Chinese media reporter that when he drove through the tunnel at around 10:30 a.m. on March 20th, there was already standing water on the ground, about half a wheel deep.
这个存档人家处理了，我们工作人员有在现场。没有，正常中行的，没什么问题，您放心。
The official report said this incident didn't affect normal traffic, but drivers were scared to death. This tunnel opened to traffic a year and a half ago in September 2022, but it's leaking already. The total investment in the tunnel was around 800 million. The design speed inside the tunnel is 60 kilometers per hour. The tunnel structure is divided into 3 levels. The upper level is for ventilation, the middle level is driving lanes that are 10.5 meters wide, and the lower level is an evacuation and general corridor. At the time, the Chinese media proudly proclaimed that this tunnel was the first large-diameter shield undersea tunnel in China located in a seismic intensity zone of 8 degrees. It was one of the first undersea tunnels in the country to use a large-diameter shield to cross complicated strata. As one of the most difficult undersea tunnels in China, it took more than 7 years to construct and was described as the world-class challenging project.
但汕頭海灣隧道遇到強震嗰陣
Shantou Bay Tunnel can withstand strong earthquakes, avoid damage, and won't leak or collapse. It showcases China's technology for tunneling through rivers and across the sea, has reached the world's leading level, and serves as a reference for the construction of sea tunnels around the globe.
At noon on March 20th, the official WeChat of the Shantou municipal government announced the situation was a result of a fire hose rupture, causing a large amount of fresh water to pour into the tunnel from the right side wall. Emergency drainage began. By 3 p.m., the city's traffic police department said normal traffic had resumed in the Bay Tunnel. However, netizens weren't convinced. A similar situation happened a year ago in Dalian, a seaside city in northern China. In 2023, the Dalian Bay Tunnel, which claimed a century of serviceability, leaked half a month after it opened to traffic, and the government said at the time that it was due to a leak in a fire main.
My gosh, the undersea tunnel is leaking. This is too odd.
The tunnel is in the port city of Dalian in northeastern China. It was officially opened in early May 2023 and is said to last for 100 years. Now there is serious leakage, in addition to a large amount of water continuing to pour from the top of the tunnel. Whether it's a world-class or a tofu dreg project remains to be seen. After seeing the water, let's look at the fire. On March 15th, a mountain fire broke out in Sichuan.
On March 16, 2024, there was a mountain fire in Yajiang, 70 kilometers away from us. Our part of the sky is almost dark. It's covered by smoke drifting from there. I hope everyone is safe and there will be no more fires.
我拍出来是世界末日了，我操！这他妈毒气进来了，好毒！好毒了，赶紧跑了，我操！
It burned more fiercely, incited by winds of magnitude 8 or higher on the second day. Smoke covered the entire fire area, making it impossible for people to get close to observe the fire. The smoke rolled in from behind a mountain, covering the sky and the sun. The scene looked horrific, like doomsday. Chinese media reported that the situation inside the fire area was dangerous and complicated, and firefighters were evacuated to a safe area. The relevant roads were also temporarily closed for traffic control, and all vehicles were required to make detours. A driver passing through the Yajiang River photographed the fire reaching the residential homes along the roadside, and in the afternoon of March 16th, the sky in Chengdu, 400 kilometers away, was unusually yellow. The Chinese media reported that the Office of the National Forestry Defense Commission has activated the Level 4 emergency response and sent a joint working group to the scene to guide the firefighting work. So far, 1,336 households and 4,903 people have been relocated, and no casualties have been reported. However, the CCP has a history of covering up disasters, making it difficult for the public to know the real situation. Vehicles traveled on the road in the gloom, sparks and dust floated in the air, and passengers gasped in horror. The mountain fire spread rapidly, creating 3 pockets of fire. After burning for 6 days, the fire was still not put out. As of March 20th at 6 p.m., Chinese media reported that there was no open flame in Fire Zone 1, while long fire lines and multiple fire points still existed in Fire Zones 2 and 3. A video showed that the mountain forest around the 1,000-year-old temple was also burning, and the blazing flames seemed like it was about to engulf the temple. The sky was covered with thick smoke. Several monks prayed in a clearing outside the temple, hoping that the fire wouldn't destroy the temple. It isn't clear whether the 1,000-year-old temple was damaged in the fire. Some local villages had a number of homes burned down. One villager revealed that there should be more than a dozen houses completely burnt down. The main source of revenue for local villagers is to gather matsutake mushrooms in the mountains. A woman said that it took more than 10 years for the mushrooms to grow after a mountain fire, which had a great impact on the villagers. A Sichuan netizen left a message in Douyin, the Chinese version of TikTok, saying, "I'm in Yajiang County. It'll take at least 10 days for the fire to be fully extinguished. I heard that there were more than a dozen fire spots, and the wind is so strong that it's hard to keep one's feet on the ground. The fire is spreading very quickly, and there's a village where more than a dozen houses are burnt." News Online said that 3 firefighters were killed, and 1 was injured in the mountain fire, but officials called it a rumor. While leaks in undersea tunnels and supersized mountain fires are odd occurrences for the average Chinese, taking the subway to work is a typical choice for most working class. Now, what have they encountered? An army of seniors. On the morning of March 15th, a number of Guiyang residents posted videos on Douyin. They encountered an event where free chili chicken was given out when riding the subway. The subway's WeChat page announced the event, saying 108 free gifts would be given out to the public. As soon as the news came out, a huge crowd gathered at the scene. The organizers might have underestimated the power of those seniors. As soon as the train entered the station, the seniors flooded into the train the minute the doors opened. The slower ones who finally got on the train were unhappy at not being able to snatch the gifts, so they got into an argument with others and even started a fight. If they couldn't get the gifts on the seats, some just grabbed the gifts in other people's hands. People who often take Line 3 to commute to work said, the traffic volume on that day was more than 10 times than usual. Many seniors came to line up at 8 a.m. It was just the peak time. Crowds of people were seen, and injuries tend to occur in a crowded situation. In the midst of the chaos, someone almost lost his footing and fell off the platform. It seems that the metro authorities are using free gifts to promote the service and increase the ridership rate. But in fact, people of that age seldom take the subway, but they all came out specifically for the free gifts. Who knows which strategist came up with such a promotional scheme for the metro, which has caused a nightmare for the commuters who actually take the subway. The same day a reporter called the subway, the staff said they weren't in a place to give out a response and added, "You media are too concerned." A netizen hit the nail on the head with a comment, "The word free is all it takes to mobilize the whole population." How to mobilize the entire population is an issue that the CCP regime is racking its brain to figure out. One of our team members received a greeting from a friend in her hometown in mainland China. Look, canola flowers on the outskirts of this small southern city. This is a special travel video produced by the local official media. Why is a patch of canola flowers worth all the publicity? Read the following chat and you will understand. This person in China who is part of the government system told his friend in North America, "Foreign trade and exports are failing. The Chinese government at all levels is desperately trying to organize all sorts of activities for the people to have fun, which is said to promote consumption and economic growth. To play as much as possible has become the mission of every Chinese to save the economy. Isn't this crazy?" Some places have also introduced policies. That is, officials work 4.5 days a week. On Friday afternoon, they were to take the lead and bring the whole family for an outing. Play is work. The work task is to eat well and play well. Indeed, China's economy continues to deteriorate, and foreign investment continues to withdraw. On March 22nd, China's Ministry of Commerce announced data that foreign investment, FDI, or actually used foreign capital, flowing into China from January to February this year fell by 19.9% year-on-year to 215.1 billion yuan, or US 30 billion, the eighth consecutive decline. In March, the decline was significantly larger than January's decline of 11.7%. The constant outflow of foreign capital is seriously hurting China's economy, and the CCP has realized it. They have started to target the Chinese people in the hope that they would spend more in order to boost the economy. However, the CCP doesn't seem to understand how the people whose wallets are getting dry dare to spend freely, unless it's free. Under the powerful brainwashing propaganda, there are indeed some fervent people in China who are willing to listen to the party. Take this young man, for example. This is an electronic technology company in Guangdong province. Workers must work 13 hours a day. No one knows what came to this worker, but he suddenly shouted, "Fight the Japanese devils! Long live Chairman Mao!" As previously reported, China's richest man's private enterprise, Nongfu Spring, is facing a wave of abuse from fanatical little pinks. It seems like China is full of party-loving young people. Here, check out this scene. On the evening of March 21st, 2024, the world's second-largest Apple retail store, Apple Shanghai Jing'an Store, was opened. A large number of fans flocked to the store. Some even waited all night. Apple CEO Tim Cook also came to the store to interact with customers. Apple prepared a free gift box for the opening of its store that was highly sought after by many fans. The gift box was sold on the secondary market for as much as 399 yuan, or about $55. Surely, because of the free gifts, Shanghai's seniors were also out in force, and their presence was just as impressive. The staff kept shouting to maintain order. Don't push, be careful, don't grab. Young people couldn't compete with the aggressive seniors. They were probably too embarrassed to squeeze ahead. On March 21st, before noon, nearly 400 people had already lined up. The scene was so crowded that it was more chaotic than any of Apple's previous openings in China. Security guards put out signs saying, "Lineup is closed." Dozens of security guards reminded the new influx of people that they couldn't line up anymore. According to security staff, only qualified consumers can enter the store. The lineup was closed at around 12 p.m. and the rest of the crowd wasn't allowed to enter. In the evening, the young people who bought the product gathered together. The atmosphere was enthusiastic. Someone held up a widescreen iPad, prompting photos and cheers. Why cheers? The young people of Shanghai were paying homage to the blank paper movement. They bought American products and displayed white screens. It was their special way of protesting and declaring war on the CCP. Let's look back to November 2022, when the blank page movement occurred in China.
A simple piece of A4 white paper has become an object of fear for the ruling party in Red China today. The white paper movement, also known as the White Paper Revolution, has become part of the recent protests in many cities in China. It's a symbol of mourning and the inability to speak out, as students at universities, such as Tsinghua University, hold up the white paper. We want democratic rule of law. We want freedom of speech.
From now on, stop blowing the public power.
Yes. This is not a normal China.
A young man on the scene at the Apple Store in Shanghai sent this message overseas. He wrote, "One thing that I find comforting is that the guy ahead of me in line reminded me to hide the video file right away upon seeing me videotaping the person's face, the person who held the iPad. He said that WeChat and various apps can extract the files directly from the device. Keep the spark for the revolution," he told me. When the girl held up the white screen, the crowd cheered with applause, and it made me feel that there was still hope for China. So how are officials within the CCP system doing? They seem to live more comfortably than the general public. Now they're even tasked to play as part of their job, making them one of the coziest groups in China. But no one can guarantee how long such comfort and security will last. Guess what happened at this grand meeting? The bureaucrats on site were quiet, as if they were concentrating on reading files and listening to the leaders' speeches. But suddenly they were all startled. This meeting was a prelude to the 2 sessions a local meeting held beforehand. The officials were startled when the speaker on the podium suddenly fainted while delivering his report. This kind of sudden health problem of a senior leader is rare, so much so that the reaction of the staff and camera crews around him was so slow that no one actually went up to help him. With the video cut off, the official Chinese media didn't say anything about the senior official fainting on the podium. Perhaps it was because it was 2022, during the epidemic, and it was too sensitive a time for such information. At this year's National People's Congress (NPC), there was another incident. At a press conference on the economy, a female reporter sitting in the first row of the conference dashed to the podium. The video has been widely circulated overseas and sparked heated debates. An independent commentator later posted on a social media platform that the woman charging toward the podium was a reporter for People's Daily. She was the mistress of the current director of the National Development and Reform Commission. It's not yet known why this mistress turned on him. This director is a close ally of Vice Premier He Lifang, who is Xi Jinping's most trusted and relied upon economic advisor. This kind of incident has almost never happened before in the 2 sessions of the CCP, a highly significant conference to the CCP regime. Now, given such a big scandal, it's not known whether this official will still be able to stay on the political stage. Many netizens followed up with mocking posts, saying, "The anti-corruption campaign still relies on mistresses. The mistress announced the end of the political career of the director." This is China today. Over the past 30 years or so, it amazed the world like a giant window of splendor and beauty. But now, countless cracks and chinks have appeared on the surface, reflecting odd scenes that have made many insiders and outsiders alike feel wacky.